I welcome you all to my YouTube channel Krishna Shorten Classes. Today you will be given a legal dictation of 800 words at the speed of 115 words per minute. So get ready. 3, 2, 1, start. Consideration, it is generally said, must be something more than what the promisee is already bound to do. A person may be bound to do something by law or by contract. Performance of a legal duty is no consideration for a promise. This principle of English law was adopted by the Madras High Court in P. Sashana Chetty versus P. Ramasamy Chetty even before the Contract Act came into force, although the Act contains no provision on the point. The facts of the case were that the plaintiff had been served with summons requiring him to give evidence before a court of law. The defendant, who was a party to the case, gave him a promissory note promising to pay a sum of money for his trouble. The note was held to be void for want of consideration. The court observed it is quite clear that if a sub poena summon had been served and the note had been given to compensate the plaintiff for his loss of time or other inconvenience, it would have been without consideration because his attendance and the giving of evidence would have been merely the performance of a duty imposed upon him by law. Collins versus Godefroy is an English authority to the same effect. Similarly, a promise to pay a sum of money to a police officer for investigating a crime will be without consideration if he is already bound to do so by law. But doing or agreeing to do more than one's official duty will serve as consideration. As was observed by Lord Denham CJ in England versus Davidson, I think there may be services which the constable is not bound to render and which he may therefore make the ground of a contract. Following this principle, the court allowed in that case a police officer who had given information leading to the conviction of a criminal to recover the reward offered by the defendant for such information is really beyond the scope of official duty and not a mere pretense for extracting money. An American judge remarked in a case that if a constable, for making extraordinary efforts to perform an ordinary official act, may not only receive but may also collect by law a compensation beyond what the statute allows for the act, any other officer may do the same, and sheriffs, legislators, and judges might and soon would put their extraordinary efforts in the market to be had by the higher bidder. This is a sickening and revolting view of the subject. In an American case, a fireman was allowed to receive a reward offered by a husband to anyone who would rescue his wife from a burning building, dead or alive, because at great peril to his life and health, he accomplished the rescue of her dead body, and because the court found that as a fireman of the city, he was not legally bound to risk his life in that rescue. The English case of Glassbrook Brothers Limited versus Glamorgan County Council is another illustration of services rendered outside the scope of official obligations. On the occasion of a strike, a colliery manager applied for police protection for his colliery and insisted that it could not only be efficiently protected by piloting a police force on the colliery premises. The police superintendent was prepared to provide what, in his opinion, was adequate protection by means of a mobile force, but refused to pilot police officers at the colliery except on the terms of the manager agreeing to pay for the force so provided at a specified rate. It was held by a majority that there was nothing illegal in the agreement, nor was it void for want of consideration. The court laid down that although the police authority is bound to provide sufficient protection to life and property without payment, if in particular circumstances at the request of an individual they provide a special form of protection outside the scope of their public duty, they may demand payment for it. On the same principle, the mother of an illegitimate child having been separated from the child's father was allowed to enforce the father's promise to pay $1 per week for looking after the child, although she was herself under a statutory obligation to maintain the child. Similarly, a married woman who had deserted her husband was allowed to enforce her husband's promise to pay her a weekly sum if she would maintain herself and lead a chaste life. In the last mentioned case, Denning L.J. said a promise to perform an existing duty is, I think, sufficient consideration to support a promise so long as there is nothing in the transaction which is contrary to the public interest.